Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com, and I'm back here with another hand history review for you guys. So today, this hand was sent to me by Victor from Brazil. This hand was played on PokerStars Full Ring NL2, so let's just dive right into the action. So Victor was dealt pocket queens in what would be sort of middle position there. We'll see how the action plays out. So right off the bat, we have a limper from early position, villain 32, and as I always talk about in my videos, my books, my blog, everything, is that we always want to be looking at the stack size before anything else, like before any reads or anything. Like what is the stack size of the players that are involved in the hand? So first thing that I note is this guy started with 98 cents, which is essentially 50 big blinds in this game. So that's going to change how I'm going to play the hand a little bit pre-flop, but mostly just after the flop and how likely I am to stack off on various boards and such. And you know, how, you know, I'll be willing to stack off with this hand pre-flop as well, definitely against that player for just 50 big blinds. Whereas versus a 100 big blind stack, that'll be completely different. So I definitely agree with Victor's decision to raise it up here. I don't think there's really anything to discuss with that. I think his bet sizing is fine. I don't think there's much to discuss with that either, so we'll just move on here. Villain 29 decides to call out of the small blind, and it should be noted, of course, that he is a full stack, so I'm immediately thinking about this player a lot different than Villain 32. I should mention that Victor didn't send me any reads for any of these players, so we're just going to assume that they're both essentially unknowns at this point, and Villain 32 makes the call, and we'll go see a flop. So favorable flop for our pocket queens. We get we obviously got the overpair, but it's a little bit of a draw heavy board. There's a lot of action on that double heart with the 10 jack, a lot of draws with flush draws, straight draws and such, and possibly, I mean, really the only two pair would be 10 jack, but you know, I'm feeling pretty good about my hand at this point, so let's see how the action plays out. So it's going to start with Villain 29, the small blind. He decides to check. Villain 32 decides to come in for about a 2/3 bet sizing. Now, this is fairly interesting. I looked at this hand briefly before I hit the record button, and I initially actually agreed with Victor's decision just called here. I think it's fine. I definitely do think it's fine, but as I'm actually looking at this hand now, I could actually see maybe a small raise just to, you know, flush out any kind of draws and just kind of, you know, almost commit ourselves against Villain 32, really. So I think a small raise here, maybe to 32 cents or something like that would be okay as well. But I don't mind his decision to just call here. It does, of course, invite Villain 29 to make some kind of loose calls behind, so with draws and such. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. We'll see what the turn brings. Because the turn is either going to bring a really good card for us, you know, maybe a 3 of clubs, a 6 of diamonds, something like that, or it's going to bring one of the worst cards possible in the deck, the Ace of Hearts. So Ace of Hearts here obviously completing all the flush draws. It's going to complete the King-Queen straight draw. It's going to make a couple 2 pairs with Ace Deuce, Ace 10, Ace Jack, hands like that. So definitely not a good card for us. So Villain 29 checks, Villain 32 checks, and I believe Victor checks. Yeah, Victor checks as well, and I highly agree with that decision. I don't really think we ever want to be turning our hand into a bluff here. We got to just one of the absolute worst cards in the deck on the turn, and I think at this point our decision-making, you know, has to completely turn 180 degrees from how we were thinking about the hand on the flop. So let's see what the river brings. The river does bring a brick with the 6 of diamonds there, and we'll see how the action plays out. Villain 29 checks out of the small blind, and Villain 32 comes in for the old 4-cent bet into a 68-cent pot. So I should mention that I was already, you know, usually when I see a short stack, I assume recreational player, and I'm actually very confident that Villain 32 is a recreational player now, because I don't believe any good player would ever bet 4 cents into 68 cents. It just makes no sense at all. Sorry for the pun there. Victor does decide to just call, and I mean, I think that's kind of the only thing we can do. Again, it's just such a gross board. I really don't know. Can we raise here for value? There's also another guy left behind to act. So for me here, I just make the call and just try to get to a showdown. But then the action goes crazy. Villain 29 decides to come in for the big check raise on the river. And Villain 32 decides to raise it up even more. So I don't think there's too many people who will disagree with my decision here to fold, and Victor's decision also makes the decision to fold here. I don't think there's any way we can ever call here. Let me know in the comments. Maybe one of you guys out there wants to see a showdown. For me, this is a slam dunk fold. Victor agrees. Let's just see how the action plays out, because it's pretty interesting. Got the old royal flush there and top pair. So I pretty much agree with the decisions that Victor made throughout this hand. I think he played it well. I think it was definitely an interesting hand. Just what I hope that this hand showed you guys is sort of my decision making throughout the hand, how I'm thinking about the hand, given the stack sizes, given the changing board texture on the turn, and just how that impacts how I'm thinking about the hand throughout. Other than that, I pretty much agree with every decision that Victor made throughout this hand. If you guys would have played it a different way, let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to see tons more hands like this. And lastly, make sure you grab my free poker strategy ebook below. It's the link in the description. Massive profit at the micros. It'll give you my complete strategy on how I crush these stakes. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.